Lord. We're going to be in Gospel according to Mark this morning, the 7th chapter. Seventh chapter of Mark. And then if you would, keep your finger in the 15th chapter of Matthew as well. It's the same passage that Matthew records as well, and we'll keep moving back and forth between them. Mark chapter 7, reading from verse 24 down to verse 30, and then Matthew chapter 15, reading from verse 21 to 28. But stay in Mark for the time. Jesus got up and went away from there to the region of Tyre. And when he had entered the house, he wanted no one to know of it, yet he could not escape notice. But after hearing of him, a woman whose little daughter had an unclean spirit immediately came and fell at his feet. Now the woman was a Gentile of the Syrophoenician race, and she kept asking him to cast the demon out of her daughter. And he was saying to her, "Let the children be satisfied first, for it is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs." But she answered and said to him, "Yes, Lord, but even the dogs under the table feed on the children's crumbs." And he said to her, "Because of this answer, go, the demon has gone out of your daughter." And going back to her home, she found the child lying on the bed, the demon having left. Will you pray with me? Heavenly Father, you have to inspire our thoughts today so that we may understand your word, and even beyond understanding, be able to appropriate in our lives and see how best we can use what we learn to help us to know you and follow you in better ways. For it's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen. This is not a passage of scripture that gets preached a lot. It's one of those passages of scripture that you come to it and then you read it and then you keep going, like you didn't see it. Because there's some things in it that just leave you a little bit disturbed, which is especially Jesus talking about crumbs and dogs and all of that. And I remember that, every time I would come to this passage of scripture, my mind's eye always went back to when I was a kid. When I was small and we were living in Bangalore at that time, must have been about 6, 7 years old. And during Christmas time, we used to make kalkal. Remember kalkal? Yeah. Those days, okay, we made them. And so, Mom would make this huge big ball of dough, and then it was like a little line that, all of us had to sit and make these things. So she would make that, and then we would take it and roll it into a small ball, and then pass it on here, and then somebody else would take a fork, and then put the thing on the fork, and then turn it around. Some people would be like, "Really? That's what you make kalkal?" And then roll it, and then it would be fried. That's what we ready-made these days, but we used to make it. And so I remember, this was such a painful job. We hated it, my brother and I, and it just came into our playtime. When we wanted to go out and play there, we were rolling these balls and putting it on a fork and making kalkal and all that. We loved eating it, but not the making. But we had a dog. Buddy was his name, and he was a real buddy. And he would lie underneath the table. And it was so nice because we would sit at the table and then we would roll those balls, and then balls get rolled and suddenly slip out of our hands. And it would fall, and then Buddy would make sure that there was no evidence that anything had fallen down. Only problem was the next day he had this huge stomach upset that came from eating all that. But I just remember, and every time I look at this passage, I'm reminded of crumbs falling down and a dog underneath ready to eat up the crumbs. But when I was working with this passage yesterday, I just felt a weight of the Lord on me that moved me away from just the superficial or the prestigious to saying, deal with this. I have something that I want to speak through this. And I couldn't get away with it. Paul says, the The love of Christ constraineth me. And if you remember, I have often said that the Greek word constraineth means to hold on one side and propel on the other. It has two meanings. So you're held like in a vice and then move forward. That's how I felt as I looked at this passage, that God had something that He wanted to speak to us today. So let's look at it. Jesus got up and went away from there to the region of Tyre. Tyre and Sidon were two Phoenician cities, about 40 miles apart, but they were part of Phoenicia. And Phoenicia was this huge land that almost enveloped Galilee and Judea. It was said that Phoenicia embraced Galilee and Judea. And it's strange because Jesus really never set foot in any place apart from Galilee and Judea. But here He is going into Gentile territory. And then Mark also lets us know why. He wanted no one to know of it. So apparently he was tired. He wanted to get away for a bit, to spend time with himself, with the Lord, as was his normal routine. But it seems that that was not possible, because somehow word had gotten around that Jesus was in town. Because it says, yet he could not escape notice. And then it says, and a Canaanite woman from that region, and I'm reading from Matthew now, came out and began to cry out, saying, have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David, my daughter is cruelly demon-possessed. Have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David, my daughter is cruelly demon-possessed. Crying out to Him. Here's a woman who has forsaken everything she knows, the way she knows about worship and asking, inquiring of God. She leaves all of that and says, Jesus is in town, and I've heard enough about Jesus to know that He can help me. And she came straight there, quite unmindful of everything that she was breaking, because there were many things against her. What were things against her? Her nationality was against her. She was a Gentile, and Jesus was a Jew. She was a woman in a male-dominated society. A woman in a male-dominated society. She had no business being there according to that tradition. It seemed like Satan was against her because there was a demon that was in her daughter. And then the disciples were definitely against her, because we see that they say, send her away because she keeps shouting at us. They were getting irritated with her. So she had many strikes against her, and yet she chose to place herself in this position, saying, Jesus, Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is cruelly demon-possessed. Matthew puts one line that is not in Mark. He says, but Jesus did not answer her a word. Jesus did not answer her a word. Jesus didn't say anything. And then His disciples come to Jesus and they say, send her away because she keeps shouting at us. But He answered and said, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Jesus is saying, this is my ministry. This is where I'm supposed to be. Right here. Inputting into Israel. And then Matthew records that this lady says something. She came and began to bow down before Him, saying, Lord, help me. Lord, help me. And then we get to this interesting part. Jesus says in Mark's Gospel, let the children be satisfied first, for it is not good to take children's bread and throw it to the dogs. It is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. You kind of move back when you hear that, isn't it? It seems such an unkind statement to make. Insulting, actually. And that's where I think a lot of us get stuck. that we get in there and we get stuck there. And yet I believe that God would have us move beyond, not by not understanding it, but that there is a greater point in this than dogs and crumbs that we need to focus on. But let's look at what Jesus said. I think the first thing that he did though was give her hope. Because he said to her in Mark's Gospel, let the children be satisfied first. Let the children be satisfied first. In other words, that's what primarily needs to be done. But there's a second. There is something that can come. When you use the word first, then you're saying, firstly it is this, secondly it is this, isn't it? And Jesus brings in just that little rainbow into her otherwise sultry, desolate life. He says, let the children be satisfied first. For it is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. I spent a fair amount of time just looking at the interlinear, going into the Greek and studying it. And scholars then tell you that the word that is used for dogs here, in the Greek, there's a diminutive that is added. And the diminutive is always added to soften something that is harsh and hard. And so therefore, when Jesus used the word dogs, they say that basically he was talking about it like the puppies that we see or the dogs that we have at home, not the scavenger dogs that are out there. And that's the connotation. But then, a dog is a dog, isn't it? A Rottweiler and a cur are both dogs. But there seems to be something more that Jesus is conveying to this situation by the use of the diminutive. But here's the thing. I believe that the Bible is for all of us. And you don't really need to learn Greek to be able to understand what God is saying to us, this word. It helps for me, because I studied Greek, to be able to go in. But we all need to understand the Bible for what it is. So how would you look at this without understanding anything about diminutive and all of that? How would you look at something like this? I think the key is to be able to look at this passage and then ask another question. Because what is happening here? On the face of it, it seems like Jesus is insulting this woman. So we need to ask the question, is that possible? Is it possible for Jesus to insult this woman? Is that his character? Is that the way he showed himself when he walked on earth? Did he go around insulting people or speaking in such an insulting voice to women? And the answer is no. He spoke with compassion when there was a need, especially if somebody came with a demon-possessed daughter, always with compassion. And so the greater body of text tells us that we cannot take it at face value that Jesus is insulting the woman. I don't know if some of you have heard Alistair Begg, one of my favorite preachers. But he puts it like this. He says, when I preach to an audience. And then he says, the same sermon is taken and played on a radio program. And he says, often I will go to the station and I will tell them to take away parts or lines that I used in the sermon here for what will be broadcast. And he says the reason is this, because the line that I said here, you were able to see my face. You were able to understand the inflection of my voice, all of that. Every gesture I made helped amplify what I was saying, which is not there on a radio program. And he says on a radio program, they're not going to understand all of it because this part is missing. And I believe that that is what is missing in this passage. Because when Jesus looks at her and he says, let the children be satisfied first, for it is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. He was actually speaking the truth, because the dogs were how the Gentiles were referred to by the Jews. But it seems as if there must have been something, a twinkle in his eye, a compassion, whatever, that told her that there was still hope. Why? Because she came back. She came back with a repartee which was just what Jesus was waiting for. What did she say? She said, "Yes, Lord, but even the dogs under the table feed on the children's crumbs." Even the dogs under the table feed. I know I'm out of place. You're not called to the Gentile world yet. All of that. I know that I'm on. The only thing for me here, I have nothing. No shred of pride, no ego, nothing. In fact, I'm staying here while your disciples are shooing me away. Lord, the crumbs under the table. Lord, even the dogs eat them. And here's what Jesus says to her in Matthew. "O woman, your faith is great. It shall be done for you as you wish." Your faith is great. It shall be done for you as you wish. Jesus looked beyond every strike that she had against her and said, "What I see is an incredible faith in God." It wasn't anything that she brought to the table. Beloved, nothing. She came with nothing. In fact, she came with negatives. But the one thing that she came with was that she knew that God is able. God is able. I believe that there are some of you here who need to approach God like that. Need to leave everything that you are about and concentrate on what God is about. But He is eminently able. Lord, help me, was all she could say. Lord, help me. Because if Jesus hadn't, she would have been thrown out. But He wasn't going to let that happen. All we need, beloved, is faith in God. Not that we muster up some kind of, "I've got faith, I've got faith, I've got faith" kind of thing. Just have faith that God is able. He is God. He is capable of doing whatever He wants. And He can bring a change in my situation. He can bring a change in my situation. What do I bring to the table? Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All our righteousness is like filthy rags, the Bible tells us. There's nothing that we can bring to Him except to come just as we are. As we are. And I truly believe that this message is for some of us here. That there is something in your life that you're desperate about. And maybe today God is saying, this is your day. Crumbs under the table, or not, I'll take it. Lord, this is, I need your help. I need your help today. I don't know what it could be. Could be a child that you're praying for. Could be something in your work. Something that has just taken the joy of living. The spark has gone. And you go through the motions day after day after day. And those motions include coming here and singing worship songs, smiling at everybody and going back. But deep inside, this morning I shared out of Psalm 40, the song has been taken out of you. But God is able song back. But are you willing to just come to Him as you are? The desperation, the persistence, the tenacity that this woman had. The one thing that moved Jesus was her faith. She had faith that He was able. That will be the end of the story. Thomas More wrote this beautiful hymn that has just spoken to me over the years many, many times. It says, "Come, ye disconsolate, wherever ye languish. Come to the mercy seat, fervently kneel. Here bring your wounded hearts. Here tell of your anguish. Earth has no sorrow that heaven cannot heal. Earth has no sorrow that heaven cannot heal. Come to the mercy seat, fervently. I was praying and asking the Lord how we should end the service. I felt Him telling me to invite those who needed a touch from Him, who've been crying for years, desperate, who are saying, "Lord, help me." Just invite you to come to the altar and kneel. And then pray for you. So I'm going to invite you to stand. Everybody just stand. And here are the obstacles that you're going to face right now. First would be, or could be, pride. What would people think if they see me going up with the need? Other could be coming from the back of the church. I've got a lot of people to pass. Another could be just a voice telling you, "You've tried this before, it's not going to work." Those are the obstacles that you will have to overcome this morning. Just as she overcame all her obstacles to get to Jesus. Come ye disconsolate, wherever ye languish. Come to the mercy seat, fervently kneel. There, bring your wounded hearts. There tell your anguish. Earth has no sorrow, but heaven can. Just in the quietness of these moments, if God is speaking to you, God is calling you, God is nudging you and saying, "Make your way to that altar. I want to invite you." In my spirit, I sense that there are some of you who are wrestling. Just going to wait a few moments. Would you come? If you need to be there, know that Satan will battle. Don't worry about what people think about you or how high they hold you. Just a moment. Father, to you, Lord, we have come. And Lord, we just kneel here in your presence. Lord, and humbly ask, Lord, that you would do that thing that we are laying before you. Lord, we cry out to you because we know that you are able. And Lord, we have faith that you can make it happen. And so, Lord, we lay that thing here in front of you. Lord, would you work your will? Lord, would you bring change? Lord, would you heal? Lord, would you make a miracle happen? Lord, would you let sunlight come back into despondent days? Lord, would you put the song back in our hearts? Lord, I pray for each one, Lord, who is kneeling here, who has come forward. Oh, Master, let the powerful anointing of your Spirit settle upon each as well. Let there be a welling up within them of gladness, joy unspeakable, that they may know that eternal God has heard their cry. Lord, help us is a cry. Master, we ask that you would meet us, that you would do that thing, Master, that we have placed on the altar. In Jesus' precious name, amen. Just remain standing where you are as our worship team comes to lead us in our closing song.